is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Reds are out of Pittsburgh and into St. Louis, the gateway to the West. This is the second stop on this three-city, 9-game road trip for the Redlegs. It's the first of three, the Reds and the Cardinals, here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, everyone. Along with Chris Walsh and Jim Day, I'm Jim Kelch, and welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Well, Chris, the Reds may be out of Pittsburgh, but people still talking about the great performance yesterday there by Billy Hamilton.
Well, those of us who see Billy every day, we say, ho-hum, another terrific play that you want to make sure you watch over and over again every chance you get. At first, it looked like Billy turned the wrong way, then the right way, and then a leap at the end. How you get that much elevation when you're in a full stride, nobody knows, but the guy just never ceases to amaze you what he does on the field using his legs. Scoring from third on a play when pitchers aren't watching, scoring on wild pitches from second base, stretching doubles into triples, stealing third base. The guy is a crazy man on the base pass, but he's getting better and better at the plate, and that's what gives Billy Hamilton a chance to show his legs, is getting on base.
Billy had 3 hits, scored 3 runs, had 4 stolen bases in the game yesterday. Now let's turn our attention to the pitching matchup tonight. The left-hander Cody Reed gets another shot at St. Louis. This is his 9th start of the year. The question is this going to be the one?
Well, we hope so. He's 0-6 right now. Start number 9 coming up. It's the same matchup that he had last week at Great American Ballpark against Michael Wacha. Overhand, hard-throwing right-hander. And really for Cody Reed, there's a couple of things that he ought to keep in mind tonight as we look forward to this matchup. Number one, you got to have a clean first inning. He's given up 13 runs in his 8 starts in the first inning. That's an earned run average way out of sight right there. He also can keep the ball in the ballpark in the first inning. Secondly, with Cody Reed, the most important thing is to throw first pitch strikes. You do not want to get into a hitter's count early when you don't have a lot of stuff and a lot of experience to draw on. And finally, for Cody Reed, how about some good defense in behind? Because it seems like when Reed pitches, the defense fails him. He's given up 8 or 9 unearned runs on the season. So maybe if they get clean defense, a good first inning, Cody Reed will be on his way to his first major league win.
Now, you mentioned earlier his mound opponent tonight was also his opponent last Wednesday, Michael Wacha.
You know, the team spotted him to a 4-run lead early in the game with 4 in the first inning. He held on to get the win. He's been very good over his last few starts, and he's been excellent against the Reds, but he hasn't been the dominating pitcher that Wacha was a year ago or even a couple of years ago. So his fastball's down a tick. He's still throwing a lot of changeups. That 1-2 combination of fastball changeup will be really his calling card tonight.
All right, that's the pitching matchup. Game 1 of this series. It's a 3-game get-together. Reds and the Cardinals here from Busch Stadium. We'll take a break. When we come back, if history means anything, we expect a lot of offense in this game and in this series here tonight.
One of a three-game set, Reds and Cardinals on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. The Reds had some success last week at GABP against this Cardinals club, took 2 out of 3. And if the season series holds true, might be some runs scored tonight. Let's check out our Elk and Elk storylines. You'll see highest runs per game between divisional opponents in Major League Baseball this season. Reds and Cardinals just behind Reds versus Cubs. 11.8 runs per game have been scored between the Cardinals and the Reds. So, with those runs being scored, got to be some good success individually against these Cardinals, and indeed, Billy Hamilton leading that charge. 421 average, Barnhart 385, Cozart hitting 385 against the Cardinals this season. Phillips 324 and Votto 324. They're going to need all those guys because if you follow Reds baseball, you know there hasn't been a tremendous amount of success here in St. Louis. And they'll have to deal with Brandon Moss. His first 44 games versus the Reds in his career, just 5 home runs and 12 RBI. Well, he's matched that over his last 8 games against the Reds. 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, 406 average. Cody Reed will be dealing with him and the rest of this Cardinals squad. Stay with us, warming you up for Reds and Cardinals. Around the corner, we're going to have a sit-down talk with Scott Schebler, who likes to see the Cardinals again because what a return he had against them. I'm Jim Day. Pleasure to be joined by Scott Schebler. Since coming back to the big club, it has experienced the highs and lows of Major League Baseball. Let's start with the good first, man. You come back, and then all of a sudden you hit a walk-off home run. Was there anything better than that?
Definitely not. No, that was a really cool experience. I think I had one earlier on where I had a walk-off hit, but a walk-off home run is totally different as far as man, it was just kind of one of those things that you don't really take in until later on, and it was something pretty special.
Career highlight for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're giving you a shot. It seems like every day in right field now. How are you playing right field?
Yeah, I played a little bit down there. I played about a week down in Louisville. I played a lot of center. I'm really comfortable in right, so that's nothing new to me to play right.
You grew up in Iowa, or at least high school in Iowa, 5-sport athlete. Now, people don't realize that the baseball is truly a summer sport there.
Absolutely.
So, in addition to football and basketball, you played track, ran track, and soccer at the same time, right?
Yeah, it was. You know, my parents always like to keep me busy, and I like to be busy, so it kept me out of trouble. I think my parents thought that was the biggest thing to try to keep me out of trouble, was just keep me busy. So, and I truly enjoy doing all of it, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
You, from what I read, just went to track meets when it didn't interfere with soccer, right? But you were still able to set like 3 school records.
Yeah, so indoor, I did all the indoor meets because that was before soccer, and then I told them, I said, I've done soccer my whole career throughout high school, not career, I guess, just high school career. So I said that takes importance. So if they met on the same day, I would go to the soccer game. So whenever I was free to do a track meet, I would do a track meet.
Do you feel like it's helped you at all, this variety of sports and making you the athlete that you are right now?
Yeah, I think you just hone in different skills with every sport. Soccer, I think, was a big one. Your feet-eye coordination. I think it's tougher than eye-hand coordination. So to get that skill, I think that was definitely beneficial to me.
You got to be looking forward to this opportunity right now, because you've got the opportunity of perhaps your professional career lifetime.
Yeah, I need to not think about it like that, though. You know, I just need to go out and play baseball, play the way I can. If I think about, hey, maybe this is my only opportunity, that, you know, I might play a little differently than I should, and it might get me out of my own game.
Well, appreciate your time and lots of luck here in St. Louis.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's Scott Schebler. Stay with us on the other side. Reds and Cardinals, lineups and first pitch on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports, Ohio.
Wasting no time here in St. Louis. We are underway from Busch Stadium. Michael Wacha against Billy Hamilton to get this game started. First of a 3-game series, and the first visit for the Reds to St. Louis since the middle part of April. So it's been a while since these two teams have gotten together over here. And Billy Hamilton leads things off with a solid base hit into right field. And we were talking about how well he performed yesterday in Pittsburgh, and he just keeps it going here tonight.
Well, there's something different about Billy Hamilton. I just think it's an overall blanket of comfort and tranquility at the plate. But that changes when he gets on the base paths. Obviously, he works the 2-0 count. He gets a pitch, doesn't try to do too much, and gets that ball right on a line. Now, like he has done so many times, giving pitchers a headache, he's at first base.
Well, he was hitting .312 in his last 19 games coming into this one. Of course, we talked about the fact that he had 4 stolen bases yesterday and is right now tied for the National League lead in steals with 43.
Got a big lead out there right now, and he's testing Wacha's move. Just trying to see how far he can take and before Wacha is going to be able to pick them off. Walker's been good holding runners. He's only given up 3 stolen bases this year.
Billy did not start in the game last week in Cincinnati when Walker was on the mound. He did steal a base later in that game as a pinch runner. Walker's an interesting one to, as you said, keep an eye on because he's pretty tough in holding runners on.
You know, the other thing, though, is that the distraction factor, I think it's almost as big a factor as anything, having been a pitcher, to tell you to know that there's a guy out there who's going to steal at any moment.
He takes off. Here's the throw. It's going to be late, and a stolen base for Billy Hamilton, and he, at least momentarily, takes over the top spot in the National League in thefts with 44.
This is one of those situations where everybody in the ballpark is expecting him to go. Walker's done his best to throw over there a couple of times to shorten his lead. You've got Yadier Molina behind the plate. Everything going in the Cardinals' way, but he is still unstoppable.
18 of 20 now, lifetime, in stolen bases for Hamilton against Yadier Molina, and knowing full well that not all those come against Molina, but a lot of them against the pitcher.
His name is on the record, even though it's a pitcher you get the stolen base off of.
I don't know, is Zach Cozart? He's an interesting one to talk about because everybody you bring it up to, Chris, thought that that ball he hit in the 7th inning yesterday, which was ruled an error, should have been a hit to extend his hitting streak. Instead, it was ruled an E5.
Yeah, and if it wasn't a hitting streak on the line, what has he got? Had 13 in a row?
14.
Is that what he, 14? You know, that probably would people just let it go. But I like those numbers he has against the Cardinal pitcher.
10 for 20, a 500 average lifetime against Michael Walker. Here's another one that did not start in the game last Wednesday in Cincinnati against the Cardinals. There's that distraction factor again. Billy moves 1 stolen base now ahead of Jonathan VR of Milwaukee. The two of them went into today at 43 stolen bases each. Friends will see the Brewers and VR beginning this weekend in Milwaukee.
Cozart really trying to get that ball to the right side. It's imperative that he does that because Votto's been so good about just being able to make contact and get the ball into the outfield at will. You give the Reds an early run here. You just got to get him to third base.
He chased that one out of the strike zone, and fans for out number 1. Take a look at the Reds lineup. We've seen Hamilton, we've seen Cozart. The rest of it looks like this. Joey Votto will bat third. He steps in there now. Then Duvall, Phillips, and Schebler. Schebler out in right. Suarez, Barnhart, and Reed round things out for Brian Price's lineup here on this Monday, August the 8th. Votto sitting at 55 runs batted in, along with 18 home runs. Another one that has done a very nice job against Michael Walker.
Yeah, and you don't really see it a lot in the first inning where a pitcher's going to pitch around somebody, but you know, Walker is out there trying to throw a shutout. And it wouldn't surprise me if he just did not give Joey Votto anything good to hit in this at bat. Set up a double play ball, and you have Duvall and Phillips coming up next.
Votto tied for the top spot in the National League in walks with 82, along with Bryce Harper of the Nationals. Like Joey did not have a plate appearance, or I should say an at-bat yesterday. 4 plate appearances, a walk, a sac fly, a walk, and a walk. 3 of them in the game yesterday. Joey comes in at 289. He's been above 290 briefly. Boy, from where he was to where he is now, it's been incredible. Not only since June the 1st, but even better since the All-Star break. He's at 1-2.
Perfect pitch right there for Joey Votto, because if you're pitching against Votto, that is, because he just really doesn't want the ball on the inside corner. Not a lot of pitchers can throw it there with that type of accuracy. So he goes change up at 82, Fastball at 95. He'll probably go back to the off-speed pitch right here and see if Votto will chase one in the dirt.
Billy going to third. Ball hit in the air toward right center field. Going to be caught by Piscotty. He'll fire it into second base, but not in time. Billy had that bag stolen easily. Sounded like Votto broke his bat. Now there are 2 out. Take a look at the Cardinals defensive setup, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up like this tonight. Holiday in left field. Tommy Pham getting the start in center. Piscotty out in right. Jerko, Peralta, Carpenter, and Moss on the infield. Molina and Waka the battery. And Carpenter didn't play yesterday. Was just activated from the disabled list on Friday. He had a left oblique strain. Did not play in the series against the Reds in Cincinnati. Then they took him out of the game on Saturday. Mike Matheny said, I thought he looked uncomfortable in the field. Sat out yesterday. Back in there today. There's Adam Duvall. He can get a hit here. Not only could it give the Reds their first inning lead, but could snap for him an 0 for 15 and a 1 for 18 drought, which he is in.
Waka has a little more zip on the fastball, at least here in the first inning tonight, compared to what he had last week when he pitched in Cincinnati. He looked kind of lethargic last week. Of course, that whole game seemed that way, but given a big lead early on, he was just barely able to hang on. Although he's pitching well lately, he's 5-0 in the last 8 starts. Of course, it was the starting rotation that all the Cardinal people were so excited about at the very beginning of the season. They thought that this rotation would be the best part of their ball club, and it has underperformed.
There goes Billy to third. No throw and a stolen base. That's ball 4 on Duvall. So number 45 for Billy Hamilton. So he follows up a 4 stolen base game yesterday with 2 right here in the first inning.
With 2 outs, they're going to let Billy run all he wants. They just don't want to let him steal home. But, you know, it really doesn't give you that much of an advantage. In fact, it's probably a little bit of a relief for Waka to know that all that jumping around at second base is over with.
Here's the hottest Reds hitter right now, Brandon Phillips. He's hitting 5 consecutive games, all of them multi-hit games, has his average up to 278. 8 home runs, 45 runs batted in. Wasn't a big deal to him, at least according to what he said afterwards, but the other day he snapped that 72 game drought without hitting a home run with 270 some at bats between home runs. Not only did he hit 1 of them, but for good measure, he hit 2 of them.
Yeah, he did, and he kind of referred to it, but those of us who've been following the team closely know that he's been playing injured. He's had that turf toe injury. He's had a lot of different orthotics put in his shoes to try to alleviate the pain. I think it's finally coming around a little bit. He can use his feet in the swing.
That was the big thing for him, wasn't it, though, talking about why he feels like he's hitting a little bit better.
I mean, he's always got, at this point in the season, if you play every day, you're nicked up. You got bruises, you have pain, but it's whether you can perform when 7 o'clock rolls around.
2 balls and a strike to Phillips against Michael Waka. 7-7 on the year with a 4.35 ERA, and there's what we're talking about during the 5-game hitting streak. 12 out of 19. Duvall takes off on ball 3. He'll get a steal, his 4th of the year.
Boy, what a sweet couple of runs batted in would come right here if Brandon Phillips could find a spot for a base hit.
Waka sees his stolen base number this year. He had given up 3 stolen bases this season and 126 in the 3rd innings worth of work. He's now given up 3 in the 1st inning here tonight. Table indeed set for Phillips. And ball 4. Waka, who is usually very, very good in terms of walks, has walked a pair here in the 1st inning, and an opportunity with the bases loaded and 2 out for Schebler.
Well, this is an inning that has been kind of a roller coaster emotionally. Reds are happy they get Billy Hamilton on. He steals second base. You can't get him to third. A weak fly out by Votto. Then the next two batters walk, and now the pressure seems to be on the Cardinals.
Schebler, a nice chat before the game with Jim Day.
You got to be hacking at the first pitch if he sees it and likes it.
And he is, and he hits it hard to first, handled by Moss. He'll take it himself to the bag, and through all that, Walker hangs a 0 in the top of the first. First inning here at Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Take a look at the Cardinals lineup for tonight. This is the lineup that will face the left-hander Cody Reed. Carpenter back in there leading it off. Then Piscotty and Holiday. In the middle it's Moss, Molina, and Peralta. The bottom three, Jerko, Pham, and Walker against the left-hander 23-year-old Cody Reed.
Well, Reed gets the ball. It'll be his 9th start of the year. He's looking for a crooked number on 1 in that win column after tonight. Earned run average high, mainly because he's had such a tough time in the first inning. He pitched his last start against the Cardinals. It was the same matchup against Michael Wacha. In that ball game, he went 5 innings. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning and then held on to pitch 5.
He faced the entire Cardinal order in the first inning last Wednesday at Great American Ballpark, minus Carpenter, who wasn't in there that day. And first pitch here is in there for a called strike. What we're talking about, a 14.63 ERA in the first inning this year. 389 opponent's batting average. Quickly gets ahead here of Carpenter. No balls and 2 strikes.
I like already what I see of Cody Reed. Now, I'm only 2 pitches in, but I don't see him overthrowing. I see him staying under control, maybe backing off a notch, which is a very difficult thing for a young, hard-throwing pitcher to do. I mean, he's been up long enough, and he's watched enough television of Major League games on TV to know that those pitchers that win are able to command their fastball.
Even now at 2-2 to Carpenter. Hitting .292 with 14 home runs. He's driven in 53. He missed the better part of a month with a left oblique strain. 24 games on the disabled list. Came back Friday, played Friday, half the game on Saturday. As mentioned, Mike Matheny took him out of the game on Saturday, said he didn't like the way he looked out there. Sat out yesterday, had some tests run, all came back negative. Back in there tonight. Full count. Reds shift him defensively. Only man on the left side of the infield is Suarez. He's in the shortstop spot. And Carpenter stays alive.
Well, they've missed Carpenter a lot. They have had 2 guys return from the disabled list recently. Carpenter's one of them. Brandon Moss is the other. Carpenter went on the DL back on July the 7th with an oblique strain. That's a rib cage muscle. Of course, last year, what a year he had. 28 home runs, 44 doubles. That led the league.
Lines it right at second baseman Phillips. He hit it hard, but Reed, who got ahead 0-2, survives the first batter of the game on a line out for out number 1. Take a look at the Reds' full defensive setup, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up like this here tonight. Duvall, Hamilton, and Schebler across the outfield. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips and Votto on the infield, third to first. Reed throws to Barnhart. Batter now is the right fielder Stephen Piscotty. Hit that ball hard. It ricochets around into the seats down beyond third base.
There's a lot to like about Piscotty. 25 years old. He went to Stanford. He came up last year. He played in 63 games, and the Cardinals put him in all 3 different outfield positions. He hit over 300. Had a nice on-base percentage. Just a good, solid player. Even played a little bit of first base last year.
Yeah, they got rid of John Jay in the offseason. In fact, received Jed Jerko's in the lineup, and by and large now is their everyday third baseman from San Diego, thinking that Piscotty could be a guy that could fill a void in the outfield. He had a home run against Reed last Wednesday. It was the only run the Cardinals scored against Reed after that 4-run first inning. He actually didn't pitch poorly after the first. That is fair, inside the bag, kicks off the side wall. It's going to be 2 bases for Piscotty. Duvall had a long run to come in to get that thing after it kicked off the wall. Piscotty gets his team leading 26th double of the year.
Well, I don't know how he kept this ball fair. It was down and in. Normally when you drop the head on a pitch that far down, it's going to hook and hook hard, but it didn't. Stayed right down the third base line, bounces off the wall, and ends up being a double. 2 batters, 2 well struck balls so far for the Cardinals.
The Reds had a scoring chance in the first. It went by the wayside, and now the Cardinals with a runner at second base, 1 out here in the first, and Matt Holliday to the plate. Veteran outfielder was on all 3 times that he faced Reed last week, hit by a pitch and a pair of singles. Still his numbers down this year, only 241. He went through a terrible stretch during June and July, which he hit only 206 those 2 months combined. Phillips cheats up the middle, trying to keep that runner. Piscotty close out at second base. The split here, over 100 points differential between what he has done here and what he has done away from Busch Stadium.
Maybe that helps you explain why the Cardinals have had such a difficult time winning here at home. They're 26-32 here at home, 6 games under 500. They're 11 games over on the road, and nobody can figure it out. You ask people what's going on with the Cardinals when it comes to trying to score runs and win games at home. It's like, well, a little bit of this. Sometimes it's pitching, sometimes it's hitting. There's John Mabry, the Cardinal hitting coach.
Borderline pitch goes the way of Reed, and now a full count. Well, the Cardinals are the only team in Major League Baseball that has a winning record on the road, yet a losing record at home. And when you look back through their history, they have not had a losing home record at the end of the season since 1999. Strike 3 called. On both those last 2 pitches, Holliday thought he had drawn a walk. Ted Barrett, the crew chief, rings him up. Out number 2.
You know, sometimes the second called strike can affect the hitter on the 3rd strike. He might be still thinking about how he was jobbed on the pitch before. When Cody Reed lays a nice slider in, a little backdoor slider, looks like a ball coming out of his hand and catches the outside corner.
So 2 out, 1 more to get for Reed here in the 1st inning, and it's a tough one. Brandon Moss. 18 home runs, 44 runs batted in, his first full year as a member of the Cardinals. Jim Day talked earlier about the fact that this guy has absolutely killed Reds pitching this year to the tune of .406 average with 5 home runs. Double by Piscotty has him out at second base. There's the breakdown. Reds had really handled him until this year. Moss is a guy that came up years ago with the Red Sox and had incredible potential. People really thought he was going to be the guy, but it's been the latter part of his career where he has blossomed rather than the early part. All of his home runs, 18 of them have come against right-handed hitter, against the right-handed pitching, I should say. Votto. He'll feed Reed, and Cody Reed does a nice job of working around the 1-out double by Piscotty, putting an end to the 1st. Let's take a look at tonight's IGS bringing the energy feature. How about the lowest career ERA against the Reds since 1950 with a minimum of 10 starts. Right in the middle of it all is Michael Wacha, a 1.97 ERA. We talked earlier about the fact that he has really manhandled the Reds. 6-1 with that 1.97. Some pretty good names on that list right there. Led, of course, by Hall of Famer Randy Johnson. Here's Suarez to get the second started. Barnhart and Reed to follow. Suarez, another one, hitting the ball pretty well as of late. And he lines this ball out in the left field for a base hit. Suarez into this game hitting .318 over the course of his last 17. And he is on with a leadoff base hit.
Either Eugenio Suarez was looking curveball, or he's seeing that pitch come out of Wacha's hand very well, because he waits back on this ball. I mean, he just sees it coming, and boom, right there. Not that bad of a pitch, really knee high out on the outer part of the plate.
So for the second consecutive inning, the Reds have the leadoff man on, and now Barnhart slaps one by the drawn-in Jerko and out into left field. And Tucker Barnhart now extends his hitting streak to 6 games, and the Reds have 2 on with nobody out.
You know, Barnhart is very quietly having himself a very respectable year at the plate. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when you say the name Tucker Barnhart is that, oh, he's a really good catcher, great defensive catcher. He handles the pitching staff and so on and so forth. But, you know, offensively now, this guy gives you a little bit of action down there at the bottom of the order.
He really has been able to take advantage of the opportunity presented to him. Now is a bunt in the air. That's a terrible bunt by Cody Reed.
And even a worse play by Wacha. Because had Wacha let that ball drop, that's an easy double play. In fact, at the very end of that, Molina raised his hands up in disgust. All you got to do is let this baby drop. Now, there wouldn't be anybody covering second base, maybe the problem. But you may have a play at third and then have a play at first, because the disappointing pitcher, Reed, was unable really to run down the line. So, you know, it's easy to second guess, but you got to ask yourself ahead of time, what if that guy pops it up to me? What am I going to do to it?
Yeah, you're right. We could see in that shot there was no one at second base. But had that ball dropped, and the way that Reed reacted, he stood at the plate, was upset with himself. That's an easy double play.
Well, at the very worst, you have an out of third base and you have the pitcher running the bases instead of a Tucker Barnhart.
Now Billy Hamilton, as the Reds turn the batting order over quickly here tonight. Billy down 2 strikes. He's a 9 for 20 this year against St. Louis. He's another guy, Hamilton, that we're really seeing in the last month or so turn the corner that everyone hoped he would, becoming a better offensive player. Mike Matheny's club lost here yesterday, 6-3 to Atlanta. Folks around here disappointed with the fact that they lost 2 of 3 to that Atlanta ball club.
Not only that, but they've lost their last 2 series, both against last place teams. Certainly not the team of 2015 that won 100 games for Mike Matheny. But they are still in the race for the wild card.
They enter tonight 1 game behind Miami for the 2nd wild card spot. That's an infield fly rule that will be handled by the second baseman Carpenter. Last 8 games, 2 and 6 for the Cardinals. Look at those numbers, a 6+ ERA. Over 300 batting average, only 1 quality start. Not what they are used to around here, that's for sure. They still have one of the better bullpens in the league. Hard hit by Cozart to left. Holiday drifting, and Holiday's not going to get it. 1 run will score. Here comes Barnhart racing toward the plate. Here comes the throw, and it is not in time. Tucker Barnhart just did get in there ahead of the throw of the shortstop Peralta, who cut that ball off on the throw in from left field. And Holiday kind of drifted on that ball and never really did, it appear, get a good beat on that thing.
Well, I think that this ball was hit much harder than Matt Holliday thought it was. It came off the bat, and Holliday thought, well, maybe I can just get it. And he turned one way, then turned another. You know, only Billy Hamilton can do that. And he comes back in here, and that ball just goes over his head.
Well, Suarez scored easily, but Barnhart really had to chug it along, and he just did get in there. A 2-0 Cincinnati lead here in the top of the second. Big lead down there at third now by Cozart.
Got to be really such a sweet feeling for Cozart. He was unable to get the runner Billy Hamilton to third base in the first inning, thereby costing the Reds a run, potential run. But he came up and put a good swing on it. Right now the Reds are seeing Michael Wacha's offerings pretty well.
Votto trying to come up with a 2-out hit. .299 average this year with runners in scoring position. Light out to shallow right in the first. That was with Billy Hamilton at second base. Now he has Cozart over at third. And a 2-0 Reds lead. Cozart credited with a double, went to third on the throw home. Again, the Cardinals shift the infield against Votto. Hits in this inning and already 4 in the game by the Reds against Wacha. It's a defensive Votto swing just to stay alive, just to get a look at another pitch. Reed will go to the mound in the bottom of the second with a lead. The question is, how big of a lead will he go out there with? It's a 2-0 advantage now. Three and 2. Duvall waiting on deck. Cozart leading away at third. Boy, Votto really making Wacha work here. He's already over 40 pitches. We're in the second. Shoots it out toward right. That ball is going to get down, and looked like Piscotty stumbled going for that ball. That's going to get Joey to second, and he will try to get the third, and he will get in there standing with a triple, and the Reds get the big hit, and it is now 3-0 Cincinnati here in the top of the second. And boy, Piscotty looked like he tripped over his foot, caught his foot on the ground or something going after this ball right there.
He got a bad jump in the very beginning and then really never got his legs under him. Stumbled, bumbled, and fumbled his way all the way to the ground, and that ball goes to the wall.
Ends up being the first triple of the year for Joey Votto.
Boy, these 2-out ribeyes tasting good here for the Reds.
Duvall, high fly ball. Deep into left field. That ball is a foul ball. Oh, that was close. Take another look at this one down the line. Brian Price looking back into the back of the dugout, wondering if he wants the umpires to look at this. This would not be a challenge, but an umpire review. Ted Barrett looking over there. Brian Price comes out. This is different than a challenge now. Remember, this is the old pre-challenge rules. And that is, you can have the umpires take a look at fair and foul balls
if they decide to do so.
Correct.
You can't force them to take a look. And what Ted Barrett did immediately was he waved to the third base umpire, Will Little, and he said, "Come on in here, Will. Did you see something? Are you sure that that ball was foul?" And if there's any hesitation at all, they're going to go ahead and ask the guys in New York.
And that's exactly what they will do. Duvall, of course, had a big blast, a 2-run homer in Game 1 in Cincinnati last week. And as you look at that, that looked like a fair ball, didn't it?
Well, that's after it already hit something on the wall to have it come bounce back into the field. It's as it went past the foul pole in the very first place where it was. And we had a shot of it. It looked like you could see the ball pass on the home plate side of the foul pole. We'll take another look again.
There it is.
You see the ball, and that's going to be a foul ball.
Yeah. When you saw that ball cross in front of the foul pole, you never lost sight of it, meaning it went in front of the pole. And as you said,
and you can appreciate the position of Will Little, the third base umpires.
Sure.
You know, I think I saw it right. I think I got the call right, but am I 100% sure? No. I'm looking at a play that's a couple of 100 feet away from me. I got the ball's moving. The ball is white. The foul pole is yellow. It looks very much like each other. We'll let the guys in New York grab those big monitors take a look at it.
You could almost read Brian Price's mind there. He kind of shrugged his shoulders as if to say, what do we have to lose?
And the other thing that you have to gain is that you're making Michael Wacha stand out on the mound a little bit longer. He's taking some warm-up pitches. But interruptions in the middle of an inning are never good for the pitcher.
One thing for certain, this is taking a while. Duvall had that big 2-run homer in the 7th inning of the game on Tuesday last week.
All right, the question is this. If Duvall is awarded a home run, does he have to run around the bases?
I would think he certainly would. They call it a foul ball. Long review in New York. They call that a long foul ball off the bat of Duvall, and strike one.
Now, where were we?
Let's see. 0-1, 3 runs in. Kind of lose track of things there. Picked up by Molina and on to first to retire the side. But through all that, a successful second inning for the Reds as they put on 3 against Wacha. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. St. Louis Arch in downtown St. Louis. The aforementioned gateway to the West. Reds leading at 3-0. Cody Reed worked around a one-out double by Piscotty in the first, and now takes the hill with a lead intact of 3-0. And he gets Yadier Molina to lead it off. Throws out the hot-hitting Cardinal catcher on one pitch. And a good start for Reed and the Reds here in the second. Here's Johnny Peralta. And an injury-plagued year for Johnny Peralta. Injured his left thumb, requiring surgery back in the early days of March. In fact, it was one of their earliest spring training games. Peralta was on the disabled list until the early part of June. Came back, and just over a month later, strained that ligament, went back on the disabled list, and was activated on August the 3rd, which was the second game of the series against the Reds in Cincinnati.
The player that they plugged in for Peralta when he was injured, the Reds saw him for the first time in April, was Aledmus Diaz, a Cuban-born shortstop who just ignited this ball club. He recently went on the DL, and he'll be done for the rest of the year. But he went on the DL hitting .312, and they miss him in that lineup really more than anybody.
Now his defense was a little shaky, but boy, offensively, I think they got more out of him than they ever thought they'd get. National League rookie rankings for Aledmus Diaz: first in average, second in RBIs, tied for third in home runs. Fractured right thumb, hit by a pitch, as Chris said, out for the year. That is a fair ball. It just went over the bag down there at third. Kicks out to Duvall, and this time he got a good bounce and holds Peralta to a single.
Well, a pitch on either part of the plate. Always a good fastball hitter is Johnny Peralta, and that ball just goes right over the bag. Boy, Duvall has been tested down there a couple of times on balls that have ricocheted off that little wall that shoots out from the stands.
They have one down both lines, but the one in left field is much closer than the one in right field. Here now is the third baseman, Jed Jerko.
A lot of first pitch strikes here for Cody Reed tonight compared to his recent starts. It's always a good formula for success.
Toward the middle, Cozart, Phillips with a bare hand grab, and on Novato, that goes 6-4-3, and that is an inning-ending double play. Los Angeles Dodgers coming up August 19th through the 22nd. Thanks to Reach Magazine, you can catch all the action and save with the 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 view-level tickets, 4 Reds hats for only $48. If you'd like tickets, you can call 513-381-REDS, or you can visit reds.com/4-448. That'll be all part of the upcoming homestand for the Reds. That begins on Monday, the 15th. Miami will be in for 4, then the Dodgers for 4, and then interleague baseball again, the Texas Rangers for 2. So a 10-game homestand coming up that begins on Monday, August the 15th. Rarely do you see 2 back-to-back 4-game series, but that's what the Reds will have. Marlins and the Dodgers both battling for playoff spots. Dodgers right now trail the Giants by game in the West, but hold down the #1 spot on the wild card. Marlins enter the action 7 behind the Nationals in the East. They hold down the #2 spot in the wild card race of the National League, 1 game ahead of this Cardinal club.
Now the Marlins are hosting the San Francisco Giants right now down in Miami. And they've knocked Johnny Cueto out of the game after 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, and currently lead 5-1. Marlins are a team, as you see them, you can kind of project them getting better as the season goes on. They had so many changes. It had to be kind of tough for Don Mattingly to kind of have everybody gel. They look like a team that may just hang right in there.
Getting a lot of credit for keeping them going day in, day out. Boy, Phillips golfs that ball into left field. Long run for Holiday. Phillips is going to keep on motoring into second base, and he has himself a leadoff double. So 3 innings, 3 leadoff hits for the Reds in this game.
3rd extra base hit of the ball game for the Reds too. This has got to be a little disheartening for Wacha. When you make a really good pitch, you expect a good result. Doesn't always happen, but you certainly don't expect to give up a double right there. What happened with Votto at the plate before his triple is that he fouled off so many really good pitchers' pitches before he finally had a good one to hit. Reds are wearing Wacha down.
Schebler's going to be out at first. He takes that big cut. When he makes contact, boy, the ball really jumps. That time he didn't get it all, and he's out 3 unassisted for the second time.
When he came up in the first inning, I suggested he swing at the first pitch because Wacha had just walked the previous 2 batters. I don't think that he was going to walk Schebler. I thought he was going to get a first pitch fastball, which he did, hit hard right to the first baseman. But in that particular bat, why not get up there and see a few of his pitches? Because now he's been 2 at bats, he's seen 2 pitches, and he really has no idea what Walker's going to throw.
On the plus side, he does get Phillips over to third. He's there with 1 out, and the Cardinals bring their infield in, trailing already 3-0.
That fake throw to third by Molina, just as a note, if you're a batter in the batter's box, you don't have to duck and get out of the way. You have a right to that batter's box. When that catcher wants to throw to third base, it's up to him to move around you.
That's a good note, actually, right there. That's
now,
something that people don't know, I think.
In this case, however, if the ball gets away from Molina and he comes diving back to the play to maybe try to retire Brandon Phillips trying to score on that, that's when you do have to vacate the batter's box.
To the left of the shortstop, runner coming home, and Phillips is going to score. He dives in headlong. Peralta thought about coming home, but Suarez put it in play in a pretty good spot, not allowing the drawn-in infield to pay off for the Cardinals. And it's now a 4-0 Cincinnati lead.
Brandon got a good jump on this, and because Peralta had to move to his left, he really didn't have a good throwing position.
Gives Suarez his 51st RBI. And now a 4-0 Redlegs advantage.
Just the energy in that dugout, so different than when the Reds were last here in the month of April.
a good stat right there. Second time in 13 career starts he's allowed more than 2 runs. The only time that the Reds have beaten him was back in September of 2014. 4-0 early lead here tonight for Brian Price's club against the 25-year-old Michael Wacha. And ball 4. So 3 walks tonight for Wacha, who's not had a good inning yet in this game. He surpasses 60 pitches so far.
I would imagine that Reed probably has a take sign here until at least he gets a strike on him.
Saw Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, looking on the Cardinal dugout. Wacha has won his last 2 starts. That last one, he lasted only 5 in Cincinnati. After winning 17 last year with a 3.38 ERA. A different story this year. Cued to third. Jerko will throw across the diamond to retire the side. But the Reds get another run and now lead it 4-0 here in St. Louis.
MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live video, highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. I'm Jim Day. Having a recent conversation with Zach Cozart and Tucker Barnhart. We're talking about umpires and who they think was best or their favorite umpire. Joe West was mentioned, and the guy behind the plate, Ted Barrett, and he is not your typical umpire. First of all, he has a degree in kinesiology. In 2013, he earned a PhD in theology. Was a captain of his football team in college, played basketball in high school, was also an amateur boxer. And the consensus throughout the league is that you just do not question when Ted Barrett is behind the plate. 1, because he's usually right. 2, he's 6'4", 255, and when he was an amateur boxer, he used to spar with former heavyweight champ Evander Holyfield. And in a benches clearing situation involving the Red Sox, he single-handedly held back Big Papi by himself. He is a man's man and one of the most respected umpires in the game. And our guy, Chris Welsh's guy.
A true friend of Tech Talk, and we love Ted for that.
Yeah, when there's a rules interpretation that needs to be looked at and looked at closely, you turn to Ted Barrett and he always comes through. Now, he has one of those looks. You wanted to cross him and you looked at him, he could give you that look that just back you down right now.
Well, he just looks like an umpire. So when he makes a call, whether it's right or wrong, it's usually right. It seems like it's right.
He's able to sell it, that's for certain. Leadoff base hit by Tommy Pham here in the bottom of the third. He has a great way of explaining those rules. You and he do those on Tech Talk.
Well, he really enjoys them. We take those in Arizona during spring training, and this year we were very fortunate to have a lot of the Reds minor leaguers, some of their young upcoming prospects coming out there to be our actors, if you want to call it that, our players to examine the rules. And I'll tell you, you need to review those from time to time.
You can make 10 of those a year for 20 years and still not cover nearly everything that happens in a game.
Right about that. There is a big need for more rules education.
Maybe a website or something.
Maybe. Someday, you never know.
Yeah. Waka trying to move the runner along. Waka has a couple of sacrifice bunts this year.
One of the things that 4 runs by the Reds have done here in St. Louis is really quieted down this crowd. They have a sellout or near sellout just about every day. And they just don't have much to cheer about right now when you're down by 4. This is where Cody Reed really should just give in and throw a strike right here. I mean, throw a pitch that's over the plate but eye high. Then throw the next pitch a hard slider down and in. And when you get the 3-2, you throw a strike. But you try to get a strikeout right here, you don't really want to allow him to move that runner up.
Gets the bunt down, and Reed will go to Phillips for the sacrifice. 1-4 executed by the Reds to retire Waka. Let's see, tonight is Monday, so 2 days from now, Wednesday, that'll be August the 10th. Reds Weekly. Scott Schebler makes an immediate impact after being recalled from Louisville. Find out the philosophy of pitching coach Mac Jenkins. And it was a successful weekend for the RBI program and World Series being held in Cincinnati. Reds Weekly with Jeff Pecora and Doug Flynn. It's an all-new episode Wednesday at 6 on Fox Sports Ohio. RBI World Series, what a big week it was in Cincinnati with all that baseball going on around town. You can talk about watching some good amateur athletes. They were all over the place, including out at Great American Ballpark. We'll get an update on that whole situation with the RBI World Series in the 6th inning from the boys in the studio. Brian Giesenslaw, Jeff Pecora. Carpenter lined out to the second baseman Phillips to start the Cardinal first inning. Breaks his bat, and Phillips will throw him out here for out number 2. That sends Pham over to third, and so Stephen Piscotty now will have the chance to try to get the Cardinals on the board. Like year in and year out, the Cardinals are at the top or near the top of the league in hitting with runners in scoring position, and this year is no different. They have the league's best, in fact Major League Baseball's best number there at 287. Piscotty one of the tops at 383. Doubled his first time.
Boy, 2 perfect pitches by Reed. You know, a lot of people think that runner in scoring position batting average is a stroke of luck, that hitters really can't determine when they're going to get their base hits. But I tend to believe it has a lot to do with plate management, strike zone management, understanding what the pitcher's trying to do to you, and pitch selection. Now, you mentioned Piscotty is the best on the Cardinals with that 383 runners in scoring position batting average. Let's see how he handles this at bat now that he's down 0-2. Fouls off a tough pitch right there. Marginal whether it was a ball or a strike, but he wasn't going to take a chance.
Well, all the things you've talked about, plus the fact that the pressure is on you. I mean, you're there to try to come through.
Well, the guys that are really able to excel, they don't think about the pressure. They think about the what, not the what if. The what if is, what if I pop out? What if I strike out? What if I'm a goat by not coming through right here? The what is he going to throw me? What am I going to try to do to combat that? What am I looking for here? What can I do to get a base hit?
Rolls it left side. Nice pick by Suarez, and he will throw him out. He's been playing better defense down there at the hot corner as of late, and he makes the play there. Family destination on Sunday coming up August the 21st. Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets. Enjoy live mascot races, face painters, games, and more. Plus, kids 14 and younger will get a Billy Hamilton Fathead thanks to PNC Bank. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. August the 21st, a Billy Hamilton Fathead. Speaking of, here he is right now. Single, stole 2 bases in the first. 45 of them now on the year. Tops in the National League. Stole his 40th base in the game on, well, yesterday in Pittsburgh, becoming only the 3rd player in Reds franchise history to have 3 40 stolen base seasons in a career. Joe Morgan, Bob Bescher, the other 2. Been beaten out in the stolen base crown the last 2 years by D. Gordon. Partially for the fact that he has Billy been on the DL at the end of each of the first 2 full seasons he's had in the big leagues. He draws a walk here, number 4 for Waka, and he's on to start the 4th inning.
Oh, you mentioned it last inning. The Waka has not had an easy inning yet, and he's not on the way to that by walking Billy Hamilton.
Let's see, he's allowed 4 runs, 6 hits so far in this game.
I mean, Hamilton, he's like an instant migraine. gets on first base, dances around, makes you worry about all sorts of things.
Cozart a 2-run double his last time. Interesting, and I heard Chris, you and George talking about the way the Pirates tried to hold Hamilton back at first base, but the way Jaso was holding on the runner wasn't overly successful, but I think they're thinking about it.
It was unique.
The Brewers game tonight, Jonathan VR at home against Atlanta has 2 stolen bases, so he and Billy Hamilton still even at 45. VR playing third base now for Milwaukee with their highly touted young shortstop prospect coming up and taking over at the shortstop spot. Arcia. Orlando Arcia. And we'll see him this weekend after the Reds complete the series here. Double play ball. There's one. There's another. Boy, that was hard hit by Cozart, but unfortunately right at Peralta. End result of 6-4-3 twin killing. Bono bats with 2 men out and the base is empty. This ball caught by Piscotty, and a 3-batter inning for Michael Wacha here in the 4th.
Watch, and you can finally put this one to bed, because yesterday he joined the 3,000 hit club, and he did it in grand style. In fact, it was a triple off the wall. And Ichiro, next stop, Cooperstown, New York. A unique player, no doubt about that. And you just look at the story behind him. 4th player born outside of the U.S. to have 3,000 hits. 2nd player in MLB history to have his 3,000th hit be a triple. Paul Molitor did that. 7th player in MLB history with 3,000 hits and 500 stolen bases. And he didn't record his first hit in the big leagues till age 27 after all those years in Japan. And is the oldest guy to reach 3,000 after making his debut so late. As you guys said, we're going to see the Marlins here coming up soon.
You know, I was kind of hoping that, I know it had been another full week, kind of hoping that Ichiro would still be at 2,999 when he came into Cincinnati. We could see his 3,000th hit. He started in that game yesterday, a big offensive day for the Marlins.
I was disappointed personally that he was not a starter in any of the games that the Reds were played against the Marlins down in Miami. So maybe he will start those games when the Reds host the Marlins in Cincinnati. Worthwhile coming out to the ballpark and take a chance at that, because he is some kind of a special player.
That was Chris Russin, who gave up the triple to Ichiro yesterday, hit number 3,000. I love that last stat that Jim talked about, the first player to get to 3,000 hits when his first one didn't come until the age of 27. That's amazing, amazing stat. Moss grounded out. First baseman Votto, the pitcher Reed covering. His first time. Look where Suarez is, out in shallow right field. I mean, we see guys play on the grass a lot, but look how deep he is out there in right. Yeah, if you're playing softball, he'd be that roving outfielder, that 10th player. You can only do this against a guy who doesn't run overly well. It's a pretty long throw. He charged the ball if it was hit toward him, obviously, but still. He's way out there.
You know, Moss is the guy obviously who's going to pull the ball. They hope that he pulls it for power like he did back in 2014 when he was an all-star. And between 2014 and 15, he had hip surgery and got off to a terrible start last year with the Cleveland Indians. He was traded over here to the Cardinals right before the trade deadline and just began to get healthy and got pretty good for them.
And he's getting more at bats now at first base, at least in his current run, than Matt Adams is. Here's Yadier Molina as Cody Reed looks for a perfect inning. If he can get it, his first one tonight. He can put up a 0 here. He will have gone through 4 innings of no-run baseball here in St. Louis. No easy task against a team that comes in 6th in the league in hitting, 6th in the league in on-base percentage, and 3rd in the league in runs scored.
Yeah, they're also first in the league in home runs hit. That's a big jump from where they were last year when they were 11th in the league in home runs. So they've been living and dying this year by the home run ball.
Certainly not the stolen base. I mean, this team just simply does not run.
They're getting old, and that's one of the complaints about the Cardinals as you see them, is that they have stuck with this core. And it's been a good core. Obviously, they've been to postseason, they've been to World Series. They just have not injected a lot of new blood, and the one that they did have at shortstop this year, and Aledmus Diaz, is now on the disabled list, done for the rest of the season. The Scotty's a young guy, 25 years old. Tommy Pham,
yeah,
on his way up and young.
Randall Grichuk, I think he's on the disabled list right now. Colton Wong, another youngster. But yeah, they've got a base play of players that have been around here for a while, that's for sure. Here's Johnny Peralta with a runner aboard and 2 out. Hammers this one out into left field. That ball will hit off the wall on the fly. They'll go into 3rd. They're going to get him, I think. Did he hit him? He did not. He did not hit him with the glove as he came by.
Well, Brian Price is going to ask, does it look like he went out of the baseline? Because if he missed the tag, he missed the tag because Molina, he avoided the tag and eluded the attempt to tag by Suarez. This ball hit hard. Peralta gets another one down the left field line, but played very well by Duvall on a fly, comes in there. Now, the rule book says you get 3 feet to deviate out of the baseline that you have already created. Now, he's going from second base to third base directly. And the question is, and they'll have to answer this in New York, did he deviate more than 3 feet?
Well, there he is, a full body length away from the bag, and he can't reach the base.
It doesn't matter whether he needs to reach the base or not. Well, yeah, it does, because it'll help you measure what 3 feet is.
Right. I mean, he's 6 foot and he couldn't reach the base, so he was a good 7 feet from the bag.
And this is an interesting call because none of the umpires are really in that great of a position to measure how far he was out of the baseline. I don't believe. I have to see it again to see where the umpire was stationed.
Suarez took a swing at him, trying to hit him with his glove, but did not do it. You can see that right here. Well, you can't tell if he hit him on the back or not. The umpire was right there. Will Little. Maybe a better look.
You know, I'm going to say that he stayed in the baseline. I think they're going to have a hard time overruling this one.
Reds asked for an umpire review earlier on a long ball hit by Adam Duvall. Did not get what they had hoped out of that. Now they're challenging this call at third.
I'm wondering how many major leaguers right now that are playing know the exact rule of going out of the baseline. I bet if you asked them a multiple choice question, do you get 3 feet or do you get 3 steps? You get half as many right as you would get wrong.
By the look of Suarez's reaction there, it looked like he thought he had tagged Molina.
That might be the other thing they're looking at in New York.
Yeah, just by looking at Suarez's reaction when the call was made, well, we're going to get a decision here. Safe. So the call stands. Save at third base, Molina. Double for Peralta. Second and third with 2 out for the Cardinals. Two and a half minutes to decide that no, he did not go out on the baseline, or no, he was not tagged by Suarez. What started off as an easy inning, a fly ball to right by Holiday and a ground out to second by Moss, has turned into a tough situation here for Reed. Brian Price likes to call them high leverage situations. Jerko hit into a double play his first time. Reed gets ahead, 2 strikes. Still pretty good in terms of his pitch count, just over 60. Did he go? He did, according to Ted Barrett. He calls Jerko out. Jerko wanted an appeal to first, but Barrett says, no, you went around. We'll get another look at it going to break. Did he go around? He sure did.
Jesse Winker, AAA, this season, 293 average, and in August, look at his numbers, 360 clip, and tonight, 2 for 4 so far, and a double. Nick Senzel, second overall pick in this year's draft, 331 average in 34 games with the Dragons. He has homered in 3 straight games. That's coming into tonight. And at rookie billings, Jose Siri had himself a day yesterday, 4 for 4, including 3 home runs. 373 average for him at rookie ball.
You know, those top 2, Winker and Senzel, certainly are names that are well known within the Reds minor league system. Jose Siri not so at Billings. The boy Senzel got off to that little bit of a slow start when he began at Billings, but since they put him at Dayton, he has really taken off.
Really good to note that it's not easy to hit in A ball because you have prospects down there. They throw hard, they've got good breaking balls, but they usually don't know where it's going, or else they'd be moving up the ladder quickly. So when you don't know where it's going as a hitter or a pitcher, you know, it's not easy to hit. So that's why I think it's always more difficult to hit when you're in low minor leagues than it is when you get up and around AAA.
We certainly don't know if it will happen, and it doesn't often happen, but maybe a guy like Nick Senzel is another Andrew Benintendi. First full year after he was drafted, he's in the big leagues. A local product from the Cincinnati area. Really happy to see him get his first big league hit, yesterday? And his debut the day before. New ball is rung up by Ted Barrett. That's only the second strikeout for Walker. First out in the 5th.
Good sell job there by Molina.
First time in the game that Walker has been able to retire the leadoff man. Phillips been on twice. He was on 3 times with 3 hits yesterday. Pair of home runs in that game on Saturday. On 3 times on Friday. This guy's really been getting on base, getting a lot of hits. This time he'll be retired by Matt Holliday for out number 2. Well, nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know, the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason on for FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weeknights at 6 Eastern Time. 2 out for Schebler. Three-batter 4th inning for Walker thanks to the double play ball. He retired the first 2 here. Twice he's gotten Schebler to ground out to the first baseman Moss. About Schebler, he went 5 for 11 against the Cardinals with that 3-run home run last Tuesday in Cincinnati. He strikes out here, then went 0 for 11 in the series in Pittsburgh with 7 strikeouts, and he's 0 for 3 tonight. Brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. Good look at Busch Stadium from high above the ballpark here in downtown St. Louis. Technically Busch Stadium 3. Busch Stadium 2 is right next door. Busch Stadium 1 was the renamed Old Sportsman's Park years and years ago. Suarez leads things off. First 1-2-3 inning of the game turned in by Michael Wacha in the 5th. Bottom of the 5th now. Reed is still not allowed to run. He's allowed to hit in each inning. Worked around the 2-out walk and hit in the 4th inning. Dealing with Pham here.
You have to like the bat speed of Tommy Pham. Interesting guy. Hit the ball very hard the first time up, and that's when Cody Reed got the ball up a little bit. Keep it down, you get a ground ball out of him.
Goes out, throws out Pham for the first out here in the bottom of the 5th, and now we're going to see a pinch hitter, meaning Michael Wacha's day is finished for the 2nd consecutive game against the Reds. All he gets to do is 5. Greg Garcia will bat for Tommy Pham. Action out of the bullpen. That's Bowman out there. Bowman appeared a couple of times in the series in Cincinnati, and he will become the 2nd Cardinal pitcher here tonight. Batter's Greg Garcia. 271 with 3 home runs on the year for Garcia. 5 hits, 14 at bats as a pinch hitter, including a pinch hit home run, something that the Cardinals have been very, very good at this year. In fact, they have a dozen pinch hit home runs this year, a franchise record, and only 3 away from setting a new major league mark. They've hit 3 pinch hit home runs against the Reds this year. One by Moss, one by Matt Adams, one back in Cincinnati in the recent series by the man who just grounded out, Tommy Pham. The 4 runs earned, 6 hits, 5 innings allowed against the starter Michael Wacha. First time since June the 4th that he's allowed 4 earned runs in a game, covering 11 starts. Stay the way they are, he will fall under 500 on the year. We approach the midway point of August. Walked 4, he struck out 3. Reds lead at 4-0 here in the bottom of the 5th. Duvall back and to his right, and oh, he misplayed that ball. It's a fair ball.
It's a fair ball, and he better pick it up.
It's a foul ball. Runner going to go to 3rd. The throw.
Nope.
Safe.
Now we got another call by the second base umpire, Angel Hernandez. Well, they're going to call it a ground rule double.
It hit in the stands. And that's why Duvall was being lackadaisical out there. He saw the ball go into the stands. It tips off his glove. Touched by a fan. We've sung the praises of his defensive work this year, and rightly so. But that one, he didn't get to. Pinch hit double by Greg Garcia. They're going to call that an E7. Error on Duvall. First error of the game on either side.
We have 3 keys to the game when we were in the open tonight, and of course one of those was to have Cody Reed have a nice clean first inning. That worked. The second one was for him to throw first pitch strikes. So far he's done that. Coming into this inning he was 11 for 16 in first pitch strikes, and then he led Tommy Pham off with a first pitch strike. I think Garcia also. So he's doing that, and the third point was to have a little good D behind him, because it seems like the defense has let him down and really put him in the crosshairs. Let's hope he's able to work his way out of this little jam.
After the meeting on the mound, a strike. Now 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, they've done a pretty good job behind it defensively, minus that play there and left by Duvall. And another strike.
The one thing that I see Reed doing consistently tonight is he's just working down in the zone. He's a big guy, 6 feet 6 inches tall or so, and he, even though he throws with kind of a 3/4 arm angle, he still has a nice downward action on his pitches, and they're so much more effective when they're down around the knees. You can miss down there all day long.
Leadoff man grounded out. Pinch hitter Garcia reaches on a 2-base error. Now 3-2 to Carpenter. Duvall will have another chance here, and he makes the play. Out number 2. I would think a guy like Duvall or any player, they'd make an error on a ball like the one hit by Garcia. You want that next ball hit right to you. You don't want to wait around for any more action.
Actually, you want the third out to happen in a hurry so you can get in the dugout, the bleacher creatures to get off your back a little bit.
And I guess you really don't want that guy out there to score right now.
Correct.
2 out for Piscotty. In case you're wondering, no action in the Reds bullpen. Piscotty is doubled. He's grounded out. Reed gets ahead, 2 strikes. If the Reds hang on and win this game, the season series between these 2 teams would be even at 5-5. Far cry from the way the Reds have been playing in recent years against this team. Won the season series against the Cardinals since 2011. The particularly don't play well over here. Last 26 series over here, they've only won 2 of them. Although they did win a series here in late July last year, winning 2 out of 3.
Usually when the way the umpire rotation goes is that the home plate umpire tonight will move to third base tomorrow, second base the day after, and so on. So Will Little, getting the third base assignment tonight, thought that he was going to have nearly a night off, right? Not so. This is a second very close ball that's hit down the left field line, fair or foul. He's had already a review of a guy going out of the baseline, or maybe a swipe tag by Suarez on Molina. He's been right there in the middle of just about everything.
No rocking chair for him tonight.
Meanwhile, it's Lance Barksdale at first base, the first base ump that we haven't had a close play down there yet.
No, we have not. Scotty playing right field tonight. He's played some center field. He's played some first base for them this year. Last year, Chris mentioned earlier, he was out in left field. He gets him on strikes, does Cody Reed here. Strikeout number 3, and a good job by the left-hander out of Memphis, Tennessee. In the Great American Ballpark coming up Saturday, August the 20th. Thanks to Toyota, the first 25,000 fans will receive a USA Reds t-shirt. Show your USA pride when you see your Reds take on the Los Angeles Dodgers for only $12. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. You've probably seen a look at those t-shirts. They are very, very nice looking. USA Reds t-shirts to be given out on Saturday, August the 20th. Matt Bowman takes over. 39th time he's been in the game for the Cardinals this year.
Bowman is a young man that was raised in Washington, D.C. Then he went to school at Princeton in New Jersey. Drafted by the Mets 13th round 2012, but it was last December that the Cardinals picked him in the Rule 5 draft. Not that often that you see the Cardinals go into that draft where they have to put a player in from the minor leagues that another team decided not even to protect. and put him on their 25-man roster all year long. But that's been the case for Bowman. And he's done a nice job with a 2.9 earned run average.
He was pitching in the Mets organization last year with Las Vegas. Suarez is thrown out to start inning number 6 by Jed Jerko. You know, when you just look at his numbers, talking about Bowman from a year ago, you wonder what of those, if any of them, the Cardinals like. 7-16, a 5.53 ERA, 184 hits in 140 innings, 51 walks, 77 strikeouts. Yet somewhere in all of that, they saw a guy that they liked. A 3.28 ERA out of their bullpen. Broken bat to Jerko for the second out.
You know what you don't see when you look up minor league numbers, and maybe there's a place for you to find it. I know that you probably could tell me, but you don't look, you know, you just recited all of his numbers, his innings pitched, his hits, his walks, his strikeouts, and none of them are really wowing, especially the strikeouts. But I'm wondering if he's just a solid ground ball pitcher that, you know, pitches ahead in the count, doesn't wow you with stuff, but he's got the feel for pitching.
Yeah, there may be a spot. I know we look a lot at ground ball percentage when we look at pitchers as to how good they are. I don't know that I've ever seen that if you're looking on a day-to-day for a pitcher in the minor leagues. But yeah, you're right. There probably is a spot. Joel Lucca probably is a guy that could tell us if that's out there also.
Not probably. He definitely could.
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at it this way, if Bowman was a guy who was throwing 95 instead of 92, he wouldn't have been left off the roster and made available for the Rule 5 draft. This is kind of where the way teams are trending.
No question. He's 25.
Reds did invite 2 Rule 5 draftees to camp this year. Neither of them stuck. They both went back to their original teams.
Reed strikes out. 1, 2, 3, 6 turned in by Matt Bowman of the Cardinals. Yeah, the Reds really should be proud of the work that they put on all week long. If you followed the RBI World Series at all on the Reds website, on some of the Twitter feeds, you've seen a lot of great pictures from the Urban Youth Academy, some down at Great American Ballpark as well. Congratulations to the Diamondbacks and the White Sox teams for winning today.
Well, what Major League Baseball has done is made some steps forward to try to get more kids in the inner cities, disadvantaged kids, to play baseball instead of other sports. And it's going to be a tough road to hoe because, you know, there just simply aren't enough scholarships for baseball players at the D1 level. But little by little, I hope that that begins to change, and Major League Baseball may be one of the reasons why it will change.
Well, the Reds in the Urban Youth Academy, as you heard Brian say, hosted the championships, the World Series this year, and we'll do it again in 2017. So we'll get to see a lot of that.
That facility is just unbelievable. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Those baseball fields are awesome. The indoor facility is great. The Urban Academy, the dedication of the coaches and the volunteers. There's a lot to be proud of. And there's a lot of reasons why you ought to go out there and watch some games.
Holiday leading things off here in the bottom of the 6th. Phillips up the ladder to rob Holiday of a base hit. Nice play by Brandon Phillips. He stuck right with that thing, timed his leap perfectly, and takes a hit away from Holiday.
I mean, Holiday, when he feels that ball come off the bat, he's thinking, man, that is exactly how hard I wanted to hit it. Goes right into the glove of Brandon Phillips. He says it was taken off on him.
So the leadoff man out. Cardinals have had the leadoff man on only one time in the game, and that was the single to left by Pham back in the 3rd. This has been the kind of game that everybody's been hoping for from Cody Reed. Line to right. But Schebler, a step onto the track, is there to haul it in. So 2 hard hit balls resulting in 2 outs.
Well, twice this year, Cody Reed has gone at least 6 innings. He did that in his very first ever Major League game. That was down at the Houston Astros Minute Maid Park. 7 innings of 4 runs. The Reds ended up losing that ball game. They also pitched 6 innings of no earned run baseball when the Reds hosted the Atlanta Braves. Must feel so good for Reed to finally get out there and look up and see himself in the 6th inning and zeros on the board for the Cardinals.
You know, at 95, and if he can get through this inning with a 4-0 lead, you got to believe that he is finished for the night, don't you?
Probably so.
I mean, you really want to get this guy out of there after a good outing. And something really to build on, which this would be.
Well, the first thing you want to do is win the ball game.
Right.
And I think the individual accolades, whether a guy gets a win, a save, whether he gets an extra base hit or hitting streak, those all should be secondary, and they are.
Jumbo Diaz is up in the Reds bullpen.
But you're right about building on something. I think it just keep your fingers crossed that the Reds bullpen can do an adequate job and hold on to the lead, because it'd be nice to see him get a win.
One by speckled young man warming up to replace another. Full count now to Molina. Grounded out, walked in this game tonight. Strike three on a 3-2 pitch. Reed gets the K, his fourth and his first perfect inning of the night. He's been getting a lot of back slaps, a lot of glad handing from his teammates. 100 pitches, 6 innings, no runs, 4 hits. That last strikeout looking of Molina, his fourth. Well, he just had a lot of good stuff going for him tonight.
Check, check, check right down the checklist for Cody Reed. He gets congratulations in the Reds dugout. Now up to the bullpen to hold down the fort, or maybe the offense to put a few more runs on the board.
17 for 23 with first pitch strikes. That's one of the things that you talked about prior to the game.
Well, it's important to every starting pitcher, and it's one thing that had eluded him the last few starts, but he just looked good. And this is not an easy place to win a ball game as a visiting team. Now, the Cardinals have had problems this year, but Cody Reed doesn't really know much about that or really believe much about that. He's worried about himself and his ability to get hitters out.
Matt Bowman at a 1-2-3-6. He works here in the 7th to Billy Hamilton, who's 1 for 2 with a walk. And he is rung up there. Bowman has come on, face 4 and retired 4.
I'll tell you what you were seeing out of Bowman is pitchability, not stuff. Obviously, he doesn't grade out over the top on any one thing, but you put it all together and you have a nice major league pitcher. He reminds me a little bit with his delivery of Tim Lincecum. If you watch him, not quite as dramatic, not quite the long stride that Lincecum had. Lincecum, they said at his heyday, was striding 127% of his height. Wow, which is way out there. But he's got the same turn, the kind of long arm delivery when he gets that ball out of his glove and drops it down around his knee.
What was the guy that the Reds had earlier this year? Lane Thompson had that Tim Lincecum look to him.
He sure did.
Trying to think, you mentioned earlier the 2 Rule 5 players that the Reds had in camp. One was an outfielder, Jake Cave, who went back to the Yankees, and the pitcher,
Chris O'Grady.
Chris O'Grady, yeah, and he went back to the Angels. Yeah.
Correct.
Seems like a long time ago when we saw them, doesn't it? Cozart gets his second hit of the night. It's on social media today. A lot of people, and Chris and I were talking about it earlier, the ball hit by Cozart yesterday down to third base in the 7th inning. An error was charged to Gung, although an RBI was given to Cozart, and it was a bigger play because Cozart had a 14-game hitting streak ultimately ended. Wondering about the process of getting that changed, or can you get that changed? It used to be player may well, back in, I don't know, when you played, you probably called up to the press box yourself, didn't you? I mean, no. I don't mean you personally, but like players back in the 80s or so would call up to the press box themselves and complain.
Well, you'd say, connect me to the scorer.
Yeah.
And you'd end up with the organ player. So you call back, you say, connect me with the scorer, then you get the other team's clubhouse.
Then there was a long while where the media relations director would try to take your case to the official scorer. But a few years ago, they changed all that. They're going to get an out here at first base. And now, for instance, in that situation yesterday, if Zach Cozart thinks he had a hit, or the Reds thinks he had a hit, it would go through Cozart's agent. He would tell his agent he wanted to try to get that changed. His agent then would contact Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball would then examine it and make a decision. Is that right? As far as you understand
I'm not
it?
sure that I know the process. That sounds like it could be right, but it sounds out of whack. I mean, why get the agent involved? But
well, because someone needs to contact MLB, I guess.
Why wouldn't the ball club do it?
My understanding of that comes from conversations I've had with Ron Roth, the official scorer in Cincinnati. And if I'm off, hopefully he'll contact me and correct me on that. We can talk about that.
I know there's
tomorrow.
A process.
Yeah.
I know that Ron is very familiar with it, and I know it has changed a lot over the years. And you might be right about the agents. I just think that's a interesting way. It's about as diplomatic as I can put it to try to get the thing rectified.
And I don't know how long they have to get it changed, whether it be 24, whether it be 48 hours. But I hope for Cozart's sake they get that changed.
He deserves to have a base hit.
I agree, and it would have kept his hitting streak alive, which would now be at 17. Pardon me, would be at 16. Yeah, we're reminded that it took 3 days to change Tony Renda's from a sack bunt E1 to a hit. Maybe it'll happen. Ball 4 to Duvall. Reds have a little something going here with 2 out in the 7th. Brandon tonight, a walk, a double, a flyout. He's 1 for 2. Jerko lets it bounce, bare hand pick and throw, and they get Phillips at first base. Nice play by Jed Jerko, puts an end to the top of the 7th.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A Saturday on MLB on FS1. Fill your lineup with a star-studded doubleheader. Andrew McCutchen and the Pirates take on the Dodgers. Then Mike Trout tries to lift the Angels over the AL Central leading Cleveland Indians in a game you can see only on FS1. The action begins at 3:30 Eastern on FS1, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. New pitcher on for the Reds is Jumbo Diaz, replacing the starter Cody Reed. By far the best outing of the 9 he has made here at the Reds. Cody Reed tonight.
Outstanding effort by Cody Reed, no question about it, and he's got to feel happy. The Reds have to be happy that they're up 4-0 right now. They're going to give it to Jumbo and then see how the rest of the bullpen plays out. Jumbo assigned now to the bottom of the 7th inning. He's put 3 scoreless outings back to back to back.
He had a 1-2-3 8th inning on Saturday night in Pittsburgh. Overall this year, a 3.80 ERA, but more importantly, in the 13 times he's been out there since his recall from Louisville near the end of June, a 1.59 ERA. So something got straightened out for him down there.
Well, for Jumbo, I mean, it's a lot like whatever happens to everybody else. You start centering the baseball in a hittable part of the zone and they whack it. Simple as that. Whether you throw 90 miles an hour or you throw 99 like Jumbo can. He gets on the side of the baseball, his fastball flattens out, his slider flattens out. So in addition to being able to throw hard, you've got to put it in a spot where the hitter can get himself out.
Toward Cozart. Nicely done by Zach to throw out Johnny Peralta to get the bottom of the 7th inning started. Well, it's a pleasure to watch Cozart play shortstop, isn't it? I mean, the guy can just play.
And he's so fundamentally sound in the process.
He, like tonight's starter, grew up in Memphis. He played at Ole Miss. Fun to watch him play over the years. A lot of talk at the trading deadline that he was going to end up as a Seattle Mariner. That deal eventually did not happen. Does not mean that he won't be traded in the offseason. Into right, that's going to fall. And a hit for Jed Jerko. So he's on for the first time tonight. A 1-out single here in the 7th. I know Jose Peralta is down in Louisville now playing second base. Mac Jenkins is going to make a visit to the mound, the pitching coach of the Reds, first time tonight. Peraza's been playing short. Dilson Herrera played at least one game at second base. He was one of the 2 players acquired from the Mets in the Jay Bruce deal. Reds meanwhile have further action out in the bullpen.
Blake Wood.
Yeah, Blake Wood celebrating a birthday today.
He and Ross Ollendorf share birthdays today. Is that correct?
I believe you're exactly right. Yeah. Ollendorf turning 34 today. Wood turning 31. Pham had a hit and he's grounded out. He's 1 for 2. Talking earlier about the fact he had a pinch hit home run in that game last Tuesday in Cincinnati that gave the Cardinals the lead again at 5-4 right before The big 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th occurred off the bat of Scott Schebler that gave the Reds the win. They've hit 12 this year. The all-time big league record is 14, co-held by the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Both did it in 2001.
Trying to get Pham to chase something down and away, take some of that power away. Pham was a young man that when he was in high school, he was a tremendous baseball player as a pitcher and a hitter. In fact, he attracted more interest as a pitcher than he did as a hitter. When he was drafted, he made no bones about it. He wanted to be an everyday player, not on the mound.
Wild one by Jumbo. Gets away from Barnhart. Jerko in the scoring position.
Squeezing that slider a little too tight.
Matt Adams waiting on deck. He's going to pinch hit for Bowman. Four nothing Reds. We're in the bottom of the 7th. All the scoring early. 3 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd. From 1 and 2 now to 3 and 2. Missed up and in, so he had Pham set up, lets him off the hook. Now the Adams will pinch hit. The Cardinals will have the tying run on deck with 1 out in the 7th.
Well, Ryan Price had a feeling that if things started to go south in a hurry, he wanted to have somebody up and ready to go, and that leash on Jumbo Diaz is a short one, and he's on his way to the mound to make a pitching change right now.
Jumbo Diaz faces 3. 2 get on base. The Reds will make a pitching change here. Out of the game is Diaz. Into the game, one of the 2 birthday boys on the Reds team on this Monday, August the 8th. This is Blake Wood, and this is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. The game for the Reds. He comes in a Again, as Brian Price likes to call them, a high leverage situation here in the bottom of the 7th. Wood last worked on Friday at home against the, Friday in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. 1 inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 intentional walk. Comes in on the year. Appearance number 49, 3.48 ERA for Wood. He gets Matt Adams off the bench to pinch hit for Bowman. Adams on the year, 251 with a dozen home runs. It's 2 of the 12 pinch hit home runs the Cardinals have hit this year. It's 10 for 24, in fact, off the bench. Mentioned he has a pinch hit home run this year against the Reds, a 2-run shot against Jumbo Diaz here back on the 15th of April. Took it, didn't like the call of Ted Barrett. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's a 92-mile-an-hour slider that Blake Wood is throwing. Talk about hitting the perfect spot. No wonder Adams gave up on it. He has not seen a fastball yet.
Spoils that one. Adams hitting only 200 since the All-Star break. We mentioned earlier he has lost some playing time to the hot-hitting Brandon Moss over there at first base. Just a lot of last year with a quad injury. By the way, we did hear from our good friend Ron Roth, the official scorer of the Reds, and we were talking about appealing the plays to try to get calls overturned in terms of official scoring. Ron wrote, you have 72 hours to appeal. The agent, the player, or the ball club can appeal. And on a personal aside, he said, you never complained about a call. Of course, you weren't a batter either.
I lost his number. That's the only reason he never heard from me. Whoa.
Close.
Yeah, Barrett had been calling the low strike a lot tonight. He did not get that call. We go to full. I think he's thrown him 1 pitch in this at bat that would have been a called strike. That'll do it.
Phillips, Cozart, Votto. Just what the Reds hoped. And that's what happens there. Blake Wood on his birthday gets the double play to win the bottom of the 7th. Game summary as we enter inning number 8. Reds produced a couple in the second inning. In fact, 3. This ball hit over the head of the left fielder Holiday by Cozart produces a pair. Close play at the plate, but Barnhart got in there. And then Joey Votto hit this ball into right. Piscotty dove for it, could not come up with it, stumbled, it appeared. That scores Cozart. Votto ended up with a triple. It was 3-0 Reds. And then how about the outing tonight of Cody Reed? 6 innings. He goes for the 3rd time this year. No runs, only 1 walk, exactly 100 pitches, and is in line through 7 to get his first major league win here tonight on August the 8th, but still 2 tough innings of baseball to go. Meanwhile, new pitcher on for the Cardinals. The former Red Zach Duke is into the game. 33-year-old pitched for the Reds briefly back in 2013, but I know I heard you talking about it last week. It was really the point in his career where he had hit rock bottom and started turning things around.
You know, it also was a situation where the guy's just simply a survivor. He was a starter early on. He's kind of dropped his arm angle, come up with a little sloppy breaking ball right there, and you can hang around a while. He's played for the Pirates, the Diamondbacks, the Nationals, a short stint with the Reds in 2013. Been a Brewers, White Sox, and joined the Cardinals this year.
I mean, this is a guy, as a starter for the Pirates, lost 14, 15, 15, and 16 in a 4-year span. That's a lot of L's hung next to your name.
Well, you know what they say about guys that lose a lot of games, you got to be out there to lose them.
Schebler trying to break what has now become an 0 for 15 drought. For 3 tonight. His average has dipped to 191. Holiday charging in, and Holiday gets there. A soft liner caught by the veteran Holiday for out number 1 here in the 8th. Talked about a rematch, which is tonight's game. Waka against Reed. That was last Wednesday in Cincinnati. Tomorrow night here, another rematch. From last Thursday in the afternoon game at Great American Ballpark, a ball game dominated by the Reds, and in particular the pitching performance of one Brandon Finnegan. He'll go at it here tomorrow night against the former Red Mike Leake, who the Reds have faced twice in Cincinnati and twice hit him hard. And the base hit for Suarez, his 2nd of the night. There's good ways at the plate continue. 8th hit of the night by the Reds.
Well, he hit a breaking ball earlier in the ball game off the starter Michael Wacha. That time he got a fastball and just kind of drove his hands through the hitting zone. You watch Zach Duke pitch, and he's 33 years old. You don't know how long a guy like that can last around. He could pitch another 4 or 5 years easily.
See, tonight
one of the years that you were mentioning when he lost all those games, he led the league in losses in 2009, but that was also the only year that he became an All-Star. He was named to the All-Star team that year. His record was 8-8 at the All-Star break. And Duke took the place of Matt Cain, who had just been previously hit on the elbow with a line drive, and he couldn't make the All-Star appearance. So they went to the Pirates, and they grabbed Duke as their Pirates representative.
So he won only 3 and lost 8 in the second half of that year. Barnhart a strikeout victim. Second out of the inning. Yeah, I was going to say, this is his 417th appearance. I don't know that it's out of the realm of possibility that you may see this guy get to 500 in his career. Lakewood going to bat for himself here in the top of the 8th with 2 men out. Wood is 0 for 1 with a strikeout this year. He's 0 for 2 in his career.
I mean, maybe that was on his birthday wish list.
To get up to the plate.
Yeah.
The only other plate appearance came at home against Colorado back on April the 20th.
Or maybe it's to get a big league hit. Brian Price said, well, I'll do my part.
I'll put you up there. I think he got his birthday wish. He was able to get the double play ball off the bat of Adams, wouldn't you guess?
I would say that that was Jumbo's birthday wish, too.
Yes. Would go to the mound in the bottom of the 8th inning, or at least it would figure he would in batting here. The Reds do have Ross Ohlendorf, the other birthday boy, throwing in the bullpen, but 7 innings worth of shutout baseball here tonight, coming on the heels of a 7-0 victory over the Cardinals the last time they played them on Thursday, August the 4th. 4 shutout innings against them on Wednesday the 3rd to close out that game. They have 20 consecutive shutout innings against the Cardinals going into when we play into the bottom of the 8th. Thanks to Jim Day for that stat. Suarez now be on the move on this 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Reds leave a runner. They're stranded 8. Bottom of the 8th upcoming. 4-0 Redlegs. Take on the Dodgers coming up on August the 19th through the 22nd. Thanks to Reach Magazine, you can catch all the action and save with a 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 view level tickets and 4 Reds hats for only $48. If you'd like to get those tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/4 for $48. Blake Wood came on, got the double play ball off the bat of the pinch hitter Adams in the 7th, and back out there he goes now in the 8th. Clean inning with which to work. He'll get Carpenter, Piscotty, and Holiday. Shift on against Carpenter. Tonight he's 0 for 3. He's now 0 for his last 14. Carpenter always been a good hitter against the Reds. Started this game over 300 at 321 against Cincinnati pitching. Although this year, just 5 for 24 against the Reds. Lined out, grounded out, flied out, 0 for 3. Talked about it in the past, one of the rare players that goes up there without batting gloves. Hit hard, into right, spinning around Schebler, off the wall. Hamilton helps out, gets the ball in, and Carpenter has himself a double to start the 8th. Boy, he hit that ball hard.
Well, it sure sounded good coming off the bat. Finally, Blake Wood gets a ball up around just a little bit above the knees. And Carpenter is there to whack it.
Like Schebler overran that ball out in right. Told Jim Day prior to the game he'd played about a week's worth of right field before getting called back up to Cincinnati, but primarily he'd been playing center down there. Wood gets a strike in there to Piscotty. So that snaps the 0 for 14 for Matt Carpenter with a double. Will keep the runner at second base as Cozart throws out Piscotty, and the first out here in the top of number 8. Seth Main is throwing in the St. Louis bullpen. Reds pen at this point quiet. Holiday 0 for 3. Holiday, another one like Carpenter, in his career, 13 years, has done very good work against Cincinnati pitching, over 300. one foul tip. This year under 300 against the Reds. He struck out, flied out, lined out. Hit the ball squarely his last time up. Nice leaping defensive play by Phillips to rob him of a hit. Cardinals are 0 for 9 in this game with runners in scoring position. We talked earlier about them being very good. In fact, the best in the major leagues entering this game at 287 in that category. Heck of a breaking ball right there.
I'll tell you, the fact that it's got so much break and that he's got a fastball that goes to 98, so he really keeps you honest. That slider at 92 miles an hour. I mean, it's a power pitch. He also throws a split finger fastball, which he loads up into his glove on each stretch position. Probably go right back to that slider, wouldn't you think?
That's what he does. Been a renaissance for Blake Wood in his career. Way back when he was in his mid-20s, he appeared in 50-plus games back-to-back years for the Kansas City Royals, 2010 and 2011. And then he pretty much had 3 or 4 years in there where he did not appear much in the big leagues at all, a total of only 9 games until this year. Got him. I mean, he blew it right by Holiday there at 98 miles an hour, getting the strikeout in the second out of the inning.
You keep your breaking ball down around the knees, which is what he has done, and then you go right up the ladder on the fastball, and not too many hitters are going to be able to make that adjustment.
We've talked all season long about how bad the Reds bullpen has been, but they have really been able to turn things around. In July, an ERA of 2.45 out of the pen. In August, under that at 2.25. Since the All-Star break going into tonight's game, 2.14. They have really gotten much, much better. Moss fouled that ball off his foot. Mentioned they were 0 for 9, now 0 for their last 10. 123 in their last 9 games, the Cardinals. Two and two. Talked earlier about Moss coming up with Boston, but really his best years were with the Oakland Athletics. To a certain degree, a couple of years ago with Cleveland, but Oakland is where he really put his name back on the map. He strikes out here, and a good job by Blake Wood working around the leadoff double by Matt Carpenter. The Reds over the Cardinals. Let's take a look at our Volkswagen drive of the game. This occurred back in the second inning. It was Zach Cozart in his second at bat of the night, driving this ball over the head of the left fielder Holiday. He got Suarez home, and here comes Barnhart. He just did get in there ahead of the tag of Yadier Molina. A Volkswagen drive of the game goes to the Red shortstop, Zach Cozart, here tonight. New pitcher on is Seth Maness. One and two with a 3.34 ERA.
Maness is another one of those pitchers that has made his way to the major leagues and has had great success simply by inducing ground balls. There'd be a lot of times that he'd be coming into a ball game to face a left-handed hitter with runners on base, with the whole intention of him trying to get a double play ball.
His numbers down this year. He spent a little over a month on the disabled list with a right elbow injury. Pham and Holiday come together, and Pham makes the play. So Hamilton tonight 1 for 4. Here's Cozart. Cingrani throwing in the bullpen. First pitch swinging in the air to Pham. 2 out. What a job by Blake Wood. He came in, got the job done in the 7th inning on the double play ball hit into by Matt Adams, and then works around the double by Carpenter with a couple of big strikeouts of Holiday and Moss to end the 8th. Going to give way to Cingrani in the 9th inning. He pitched yesterday, a 3-batter 9th inning thanks to a double play ball. Looks like he's going to come on again in another non-save situation. That's what he had yesterday in the 7-3 appearance in the 9th inning. 4-0 in this game in the 9th inning. Votto today 1 out of 4. He's now hitting 20 of his last 21. Caught by Holiday on the warning track, so the Reds go down in order in the 9th. Setting the stage for the bottom half, and Tony Cingrani. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to say big store wide, great food, low prices at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Reds and the Cardinals into the 9th inning here tonight. Reminder, tomorrow I'll be ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the game. Here on Fox Sports Ohio, we'll have all the information for you on the Ray St. Clair Roofing Reds Live pregame show. Tomorrow's Reds Live starts at 7:30 with Brandon Finnegan against Mike Leake, a rematch of last Thursday's game at Great American Ballpark. And again, all the action right here on Fox Sports Ohio, or you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. That was a heck of an outing by Finnegan last Thursday. No runs, 2 hits, and 6 innings worth of work on a hot, humid Thursday at Cincinnati. He was tremendous.
Well, it'll be cooler a little bit tomorrow night. It will, when Brandon Finnegan takes them out against Mike Leake. The Reds are in good position right now to nail this one down. 4-0 lead as Cingrani comes on. Game number 50 for this left-hander. Not a save situation, but he has garnered 13 of those.
Looking for their 4th, check that, their 5th shutout win of the season and their 2nd in succession against the Cardinals. Molina leads things off. Cingrani last 21 appearances, a 1.23 ERA. Molina 0 for 2 with a walk. Struck out his last time up in the 6th inning. That was the final batter faced by Cody Reed. Significant in the fact that he is one of the toughest batters in the National League to strike out. Basically, fans won every 10 times. In the right, and a hit by Molina starts the bottom of the 9th inning.
Pretty good stroke from Molina, because that first strike that he swung at, it was such a feeble attempt. I didn't think that he was picking the ball up very well from the hand of the Reds left-hander Cingrani. But Cingrani gets that one elevated, and Molina hits it late but right on the barrel.
Peralta tonight, a pair of hits. Single, double, and he's grounded out. He's 2 out of 3. Got him in the air, and Schebler chasing. Out number 1.
That game that we were telling you about earlier tonight between the Giants and the Miami Marlins, that was Johnny Cueto versus Jose Fernandez.
A heck of a pitching matchup.
Marlins got 5 runs off of Cueto and chased him. Jose Fernandez went 6 innings, gave up 1 run. They got him out of there after 106 pitches, and then the bullpen really gave it up. Bottom line, they're tied now 7-7 in the 11th.
So Cueto's off the hook.
And Fernandez will not earn a win.
Right. Giants, the West Division leader. Marlins right now in the wild card spot, number 2 in the National League, behind the Dodgers. And Jerko bounced into a double play back in the second. If he does that here, Reds will nail down the win. Four and 5 this year against the Cardinals, but looking to try to pull even with them on the season series with a win. 2 strikes. Crowd tonight of over 40,000. 40,616 here at Busch Stadium on this Monday night. Had him at 0-2, just missed on that 0-2 pitch, and now he's gone full. Another chance for Schebler. And he makes the catch. So a good comeback there by Tony Cingrani. He gets Peralta, he gets Jerko. Now the Reds are not away from a Game 1 victory here in St. Louis.
Yeah, he's really located that fastball when he's had to. Those last 2 weak fly balls to right field, just right on the outside corner.
Here's Tommy Pham, hitting 2 at-bats tonight with a walk. Trying to put the finishing touches on the first major league win for Cody Reed. Molina takes off. That'll be defensive indifference, sending him to second base. Cingrani's fallen behind 2-0. 3-0. Colton Wong, as a pinch hitter for Seth Maness, waits on deck. A 4-pitch walk to Pham. Now Colton Wong will bat for Maness. Meaning once again the tying run, and Carpenter will come out on deck. Colton Wong this year hitting .242 with a couple of home runs. Spent some time down in the minor leagues early on this year. And he's hit by the pitch. Wow. Funny how in 5 pitches things change dramatically.
Yeah, you go from polishing your fingernails to biting your fingernails.
A 4-pitch walk to Pham, and a hit batsman of Wong as the pinch hitter on the first pitch he sees brings Matt Carpenter to the plate.
Now, one thing we've seen from Carpenter over the years is that he will work a pitcher. He'll make Tony Cingrani throw strikes and probably be taking the first pitch. So Cingrani ought to just concentrate on that strike zone right now and nothing else.
First pitch he sees, lines it in the right. 1 run will score. Second run will score. 4-2.
I'm stunned that he swung at the first pitch. Outfield playing very deep because they didn't want Carpenter to end up with a double. He gets a first pitch fastball, unloads a line drive base hit into right field.
Well, the scoreless drought by the Reds against the Cardinals ends at 21 innings. Max Jenkins' second visit to the mound tonight. Further action out in the Reds bullpen. Ross Ollendorf is throwing. That fly ball to right by Jerko had a runner at first and 2 men out. And yeah, like Chris said, you take a big sigh of relief and thought, okay, they're through the hardest part of this. But a 4-pitch walk to Pham, a first pitch hit batsman of the pinch hitter Wong, and a first pitch 2-run single to right by Carpenter. Mike Matheny talking to Bill Miller, the first base coach, very aware of what Cingrani can do in terms of his pickoff move. He's picked off 4 this year. And he throws over there. Pinch runner, by the way, over there for the Cardinals. Hazelbaker. To left. 4-3. Piscotty comes up with the RBI single. The batter now is Matt Holliday.
Doesn't run well, Holiday. You play your infield deep. You have a belly play for anything that's on the ground that might score it into the outfield, because if the ball goes into the outfield on a base hit, you've got a tie game.
Holiday lifetime is 4 for 8 against Tony Cingrani. Eighth man to bat in the inning. Tying run is Hazelbaker, the pinch runner out at second base. Now Cingrani is a pitch away from moving that tying run over to third. Wow, he was not anywhere near the strike zone. Brian Price to the mound. Tony Cingrani has thrown his last pitch of the night. Reds make the call to the bullpen. With the bases loaded, 2 out in a 4-3 game. And Ross Ollendorf jogs in to try to get Brandon Moss. Has 2 saves this year, never in the wildest depth of his imagination as he sat out there in the 9th inning. Did he think he was going to pitch tonight?
You're not kidding about that. A nice, easy 4-0 win in the book, almost. Not quite. Tying run at third.
Mike Leake, by the way, pinch running at first base for Holiday. He'll pitch tomorrow night here. Gets a strike in there to Moss. Moss is 1 for 4 lifetime against Ohlendorf. Ohlendorf last pitched on Friday night in Pittsburgh. He gave up that home run ball to Sean Rodriguez. Trying to nail this one down here in St. Louis. Borderline pitch goes the way of the Reds there, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Right on the corner. Moss didn't like it. We'll take another look. You be the judge. I think just because it was on the opposite side of the plate where Barnhart was set up, it looked worse than it actually was. It hit the corner all the way. Well, a decision pitch right here on a 2-2 count. Has thrown nothing but fastballs, has the birthday boy, Ross Ohlendorf.
Both the birthday boys pitch in tonight's game. Ohlendorf had a save last year with the Texas Rangers. It was his first ever major league save, and he's picked up 2 this year with the Reds. The first at home on June the 11th against Oakland. The last time at home against Milwaukee on July the 15th. That was the first series after the All-Star break. Now trying to save it here for Cody Reed in the bottom of the 9th. Well, now everybody will be moving. Hazel Baker from third, Piscotty from second, Leake from first. 4-3 Reds, bottom of the 9th, and a full count on Brandon Moss. He walked it.
Unbelievable. I think by this time Brian Price would have said, I think I've seen it all, until what he has seen tonight.
I would agree. And now Yadier Molina with a chance to win it. Piscotty the winning run at third.
Molina got it all going with a leadoff base hit.
Yeah, he singled on a sharply hit ground ball into right in the 9th to get it going. He was still at second base when there were 2 men out. 6 straight Cardinals have reached since that time. Hitting. Game is over.
Could this really happen?
Ollendorf walks in the tying run and hits Molina to force in the winning run. And a 4-0 Reds lead with 2 out and a runner at second in the bottom of the 9th disappears here in St. Louis. 5-4 Cardinals a winner. Reds Live postgame comes up next.